recognition of the non-difficult world matters deeply. If a person, if you find yourself constantly concentrating in retreats, in your conversations, in your thoughts, on what is difficult, the tough, hard side of life, the very wishing to resolve this will perpetuate it. Understand? If I keep going on about what's wrong with me and how I need to change, and I go on and on and on, and burn out all my friends for going on, apart from the three of us. And if I keep going on and on, the very view, even with the intention to make a change, actually feeds it. I'm saying I want to change, but I've got a habit of going over it and over it. Therefore, the recognition of the healthy inside the human being is essential. It's an indispensable practice feature. And therefore, the warmth, happiness, lightness, friendship must come, must be recognized. And that helps to show within us that which is healthy and wholesome, which still brings its fruits and its benefit. So we've been touching upon here. And the Buddha, who was, prior to his awakening, was a masochist of the highest order. Do you know what masochist is? What's the fun? Eh? Yeah. A masochist is a person who hates themselves, who's constantly beating themselves up, constantly causing themselves pain. And as a yogi in some of the 6-year period, he was a spiritual masochist. Some turned up on retreats, I have to say. And then there was one of those precious and small moments of illumination there, this recollection. And it was a recollection of when he was young under the tree, and being calm and happy, no demands on the world. And he asked himself, really precious question. Some of us should ask ourselves this. He said to himself, why am I afraid to be happy? And sometimes we are so used to the dark, to the difficult, that when the happiness comes in all of its magical and mysterious ways, we don't give it the respect that it deserves. Oh, it's not real. It's just a moment. Somebody says something beautiful to us. Nah, they don't mean it. What do they want? So, when happiness comes through the love and appreciation from the other, the precious moment, the face of beauty, the lovely flower, the tree, excellent food, and much, much else, those experiences are the points of illumination. The Buddha said, this happiness is the way to liberation. It is the touch of it and the sweetness of it. And that may come in subtle forms for us. Sometimes we wonder, with the deep depth of meditation, that in the quietness of the being, the recognition, the silences and the stillnesses, and one important area of this and a very important one is getting a perspective on the place of thought in human life. Getting a perspective on the place of thought in human life. And I think it's a particular issue in our, put it politely, overeducated. We know far too much about things which truly do not matter one bit. Some of us are appalled when we have misfortune to watch one of these quiz programs on the television there, and they ask the guest or the panel or the player, whatever, a certain general knowledge question. You've probably also been unlucky enough to watch some of these programs. And you watch, and then you find, one feels incredible shame, that one can actually answer these questions. And I ask myself, where did that come from? I had no interest in that subject, no interest in that information. It's got no relevance whatsoever to my life. And then one can answer 2 or 3 questions in a row. My God, it's a nightmare. And then they pay people off for answering the questions. They should be taking the money from them. Sorry about that. So there's all this knowledge and thoughts and words and information. It's pouring into us day in and day out. And therefore it may well be we may have to ask ourselves, can I have the quiet discipline, in a nice sense, not the intense sense? The word for discipline in the Pali is vinaya, but the literal meaning is actually vinaya. It's to turn away from. And again, with knowledge and information, and all the resources that we have created, you know, this huge internet, we'll need an internet for the internet, so the way it goes on. Can I, to find some genuine inner space, and to allow something to move deeply, can I cut down on my information overload? Can I use discernment, which is also a meaning of the word viveka that Leela spoke to us about? Can I employ and have the capacity and the quiet authority in myself at times to say no, no thank you? To remember, if it's radio and television, there is an on switch and there is an off switch. People remember the on and forget the off. And similarly with what we read. I've never played a computer game in my life. I wouldn't know how to play the thing. But anyway, so some people find themselves in the world of the game and much else. Can I, with all the stimulation that's coming, often not very healthy, with all that stimulation, can I say no to that, reduce it dramatically in my life, in order to feel, in order to start feeling the deep? And if you and I have too much information, too much computer games, too much media, too much going in, it's filling up the mind at the cost of the heart. And is it any wonder people, men and women, report, wow, sometimes I feel kind of dry inside. So in order to create the space that the renunciation, the letting go, the cutting down, getting a perspective on things, will allow something to move which is a fresh way of thinking, which are new ways of seeing, It won't happen without renunciation. Because if there's no renunciation, if there is no renunciation, no letting go going on, our condition will have to go on just as it was before. And there's the wish, the exploration for love to come through, the happiness to come through, the incredible creative idea and the passion for it to come through. And our silences and our stillnesses make possible for that to emerge.